Welcome to yet another session on the writing module of this course in English. We began talking about essay writing some time ago, and we have talked about different kinds of essays. Essays that describe things, essays that discuss two sides of a controversial issue, and then we began talking about essays where we reflect upon possible issues and answers because they have no one definite answer. As of now, we do not know on many of these issues whether X is good or Y is good, whether we should take the road that branches left of it or the road that branches out to the right of it. On such issues, also sometimes people have to write essays. Students in particularly are examined for higher level proficiency in or through essays of this kind. In for instance, IELTS, International English Language Testing System, task 2 of the writing module expects an essay of this kind where one has to reflect upon related issues of a topic and then present one's views. How do we do that? Okay. So just as we said in the earlier session, there are some steps, there are some stages. Not all of us are equally learned scholars. Not all of us excel in all departments. Some of us are good in some others, some of us are good in yet others. Some of us are good in one thing, some are good in something else, in another. Okay? But none of us is good at everything and in everything, What do we do therefore? Therefore, we follow certain steps. Say for example, before we begin writing, we divide time, okay? Maybe, for half an hour that I have available for this essay, we will take 5 minutes for creating a synopsis. Go next. Okay. Then after we have written, let's write for about 20 minutes. Then after writing, another 5 minutes for revising the essay. A good essay is not possible without revision, But some people can say, why do we need to revise? Well, we need to revise because while writing, we may be so preoccupied with content that quote unquote some little things like spelling, punctuation, or some minor aspects of grammar or vocabulary might be wrongly written. These mistakes may not happen because we do not know the subject or not because we do not know the language. These mistakes still occur either because of oversight or because of haste, or because of slip of hand. You may think you have written E, but it could become I. You may think you have written T, but it could become I or L. You may think you have written a V as in victory, but it may become U as in umbrella. Okay? So when we revise, all these little things disappear. Okay? So on the whole, if you have only 30 minutes for an essay, a 200-word essay or a 250-word essay, then you should keep 5 minutes for creating a synopsis before you start. reflecting upon the topic, making note of the points as we said in the earlier session, points connected with little hyphens, instances, evidence, ideas, statistical evidence, definition of the topic, dimensions of the topic. Take whatever you like in the first draft, and then in the second you revise, you cut out, you copy, So on the whole, if you have 30 minutes for the essay writing, then give 5 minutes to thinking before you begin and 5 minutes to revising after you have done it, which means write for 20 minutes only, okay, and you still have plenty of time, 10 words in 1 minute, which is a lot of good time. You can do a good job provided you are in control of yourself. Okay, next. So, first two things, a good essay is not possible without a synopsis. What is a synopsis? A synopsis is an overview of the essay. Just as you look at an entire city or village or town from your rooftop, or as birds do from treetops, okay, you see the entire essay, entire community, entire town or city, but you do not see very many details. Similarly, a synopsis helps you prepare an overview of the essay, and then you can take each point in turn and you can write a paragraph or two as demanded by the topic and time available, you can write that. A third thing in essays, and a good essay is, you must also have some stories, The other two things that I have said, synopsis everyone will do, revision everyone will revise, statistical evidence, great ideas, quotations, everyone knows that Aristotle has said that man is a social animal. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows Rousseau has said that freedom is the basic human right of every fundamental right of every human being. Okay, so these quotations may be there in many places, but the story related to it, how you demanded freedom in your first job, okay, can make your story different. I remember, reading about a young person's statement of purpose. He was asked to describe the most challenging moment of his life, and he said he was working in a company managing, in a mining company in Australia, and he noticed that his boss, the store manager, was deliberately buying things at a higher price from a certain supplier and pocketing the extra amount in his own pocket, keeping the extra amount in his own pocket. So he wondered what he should do. Nobody has asked him to be a watch person. Should he go and tell the senior management this is what was happening, or should he keep quiet? Anyway, he was not concerned. But eventually he gathered courage and decided to tell the senior management. The senior management held an inquiry and found this young man's allegation to be true, and they not only gave him a promotion, they also gave him all the protection required, and the other man was fired. Now, when you write an essay on honesty or on something of this sort and you illustrate it with this kind of a story, your essay suddenly becomes richer, better, more meaningful than many other essays. It definitely becomes different because not all of us have the same stories, same anecdotes. So many people say a good essay must also, other than definitions, other than statistical evidence, it must also have relevant stories that illustrate a particular point that you want to make in relation to that essay. This story can also be included in the synopsis. A synopsis is your plan for how to write an essay, just as you make a budget. No matter how much money you have every month, maybe you have a very small allowance, you live on a very low scholarship, or you have no scholarship, you are a student earning some money, working part-time in evenings and then managing your life and your studies. Even then you have a plan that you will pay so much for rent, so much more for conveyance, then so much for charging your phones, etc. Then that leaves you about X out of Y, about 40 rupees out of 100. Now these 40 rupees, on these 40 rupees you have to manage your lunch or dinner or breakfast, or all the three or only two. Similarly, a synopsis is your plan for the essay. You write all the points. Now, all the points need not be illustrated at the same length, need not be expanded at the same length. Some points may take 2 paragraphs, some may take only one, some may take half a paragraph. But if you have a synopsis which also includes, other than statistical evidence, definition and ideas, some stories, some personal anecdotes, but some such personal anecdotes that we can share in public, and that's a decision you have to make, okay, then that will make your essay different. So, the principle is, and you see, remember, these things are not rules. Nobody can say you must do these things. No, you can, the verb here is you can do these things, and if you do these things, chances are you will write a better essay. These things alone will not make a good essay, but these things in combination, if you write grammatically correct language, if your words are appropriate, which means if you have taken care of your grammar, vocabulary, punctuation and spelling, then a good synopsis, illustrated with good anecdotes, stories, and supported by evidence, both personal and statistical, both anecdotal and statistical, will give you a great essay. Will give you an essay which will be read alike everywhere by your friends and by your examiners, and will fetch you good marks. Next. Now, the final demand on an essay is that, you see, when we write in this manner, synopsis, paragraphs, illustrations, statistical evidence, then chances are that we might write lots of sentences just next to bullet points and unconnected, But sentences and paragraphs must not be so. They must not remain unconnected. They must make a coherent reading. They must be put together in a cohesive form, in a cohesive structure. One sentence must lead to the other. One paragraph must lead to the next, or one must follow from the preceding paragraph, and all sentences within a paragraph and all paragraphs must be connected thematically and wherever required by what we generally called words that are called connectors or discourse markers, okay, connecting those sentences and paragraphs. Look at it. Next. Okay. Some of these devices are as follows, such as, use words like, when you connect sentences and paragraphs, we can use words like as, or example, or for example, or here, or henceforth, hence, or illustrating, nevertheless, regardless, however, howsoever, add those words. So, thus, therefore, that is why all of these things help you connect Otherwise, isolated sentences into a meaningful, cohesive paragraph, they make a coherent reading, you know. So are words like pronouns, prepositions, etc., etc. Okay. Besides these markers like thus, therefore, you know, imagine if you don't use prepositions properly, you know, if we do not say, you know, freedom is the basic need of every human being. If we do not use of before human being, we use something else. Freedom is the basic need on every human being. You know, for this one little word, your sentence might become confusing. What do you mean? Freedom is the basic need on every human being. Okay, by every human being, to every human being. No, that's not only two or three. One of the two or three prepositions can fit there. Either you can say freedom is the basic need of every human being, so of, or for, you know, some of these, you know, one or two things about. So prepositions must be used correctly to link sentences inside, so that, you know, they make, and then the sentences must also be interconnected. So for example, nouns or pronouns, you cannot every time say saints have said that giving up sacrifice brings you happiness. Saints have said that sharing brings happiness. Saints have said that sacrificing brings happiness. Saints have said that non-accumulation brings happiness. Then it becomes monotonous, melodramatic, boring. So what we do is sometimes we say, saints have said that we need to accumulate some perhaps, but sacrificing, giving away also brings happiness. They have also said that ultimate happiness lies in disowning things rather than owning them. Okay? So prepositions, pronouns used properly in a meaningful manner make good reading. They are like glues that put sentences together. Imagine a building where bricks are just kept one upon another without anything to join them, you know. So they are joined with mortar, with iron bars, with superstructures. Columns are kept in place by beams, and beams are supported by columns. That is how we make houses. Similarly, here in an essay, you know, these discourse markers keep sentences together, and it is the sentences that keep discourse markers together. Without either of them, the essay will become a loose body of, you know, isolated sentences like they are next to bullet points, unconnected. We do not write in that manner. Use of cohesive devices is important. Next, writing an essay, like writing anything else, is a skill, and it is best learnt not just by listening to instructions, you know, that your friends, advisors or teachers tell you. It is best learnt by doing things. And also, you know, we have also said that no matter how clever one is, it is seldom that the first draft itself is the best draft, you know, but they evolve. Second draft is better than the first. Third is still better. Fourth is still better. And by the time we do fifth or sixth draft, you know, we know that this is the best I could have done. And once you write in this manner or for about a, you know, few months or one or two semesters, then it becomes a habit with you. And then even when you do only one or two drafts, you do a good job. So, you know, it's a good idea for us to do these activities. I have one here for you. What does it say? Look at it. Next. Here is a synopsis for that. Okay. Next. We have also given you a draft. Okay. And don't worry, no first draft is perfect. We can revise it, you can revise it. Compare your work with ours and we all can learn. Next. As I said, we seldom get perfect work in the first draft itself. Of course, there are said to be people. In India, we say Vrihaspati was born reciting Vedas. Many people say Shakespeare did not revise anything he wrote. There always are, In God's world, we have all kinds of excellent examples. But by and large, a lot more people need to learn through trial and error, and they do. That's it. Next. Same thing, we made another draft, Compare the two, and it will be obvious to you. You will see what we have not used, which words have gone, which sentences have changed, and we are still saying the same thing. Next. Okay. Go on. Next. Okay. You might count and you might see that, the draft that I have given you has more than 200 words. Now we have only 200 words. So what can we do? Now once we have written everything, don't worry in the first draft about length. That doesn't mean you should write 2000 words where you have to write only 200. It only means that you are anyway coming back. So even if your first draft is 300 words, no problem, While when you start revising, you can get rid of many words that are there, as I said earlier, that are there, that are redundant, that can be replaced, by one word, and similar, or if we rewrote the sentence, we can reduce the number of words. So by doing these 3 or 4 standard things as editors do, you can always bring your essay within manageable limits, and then compare your work with the instances we have given, check with your reviewers, check with your friends, help one another. But the best way to learn writing a good essay is, before I finish, just to revise these 2 things. Number 1, follow certain steps. Synopsis should include definition, instances, illustration, statistical evidence, any other thing, okay, the different sides of the story, etc., etc. Then write, revise. You should spend 1/3 of the time planning the essay and revising the essay, and in 2/3 writing the essay. Once you do that, you will definitely do a very good job. Thank you and good luck.